Outside of education, the term social stories seems to have little or even zero recognition. I had no idea what they were until my wife brought them up one day during another failed attempt at getting our son to thoroughly brush his teeth. And yes, my wife is an educator. Anyway, she went to work finding social stories that touched on the importance of brushing teeth. You know, where if you don't do a thorough job, you can risk cavities or owies on your teeth that a doctor or dentist needs to fix. Anyway, in a short amount of time, she found several social stories on the subject and we began reading them to our son. Wouldn't you know, the very next day, he did an incredible job on his teeth without any prompting at all. It worked very well. Today, we break down exactly what a social story is and the elements that go into making one that's effective and life-changing. Welcome to this episode of Special Education Decoded. Okay, let's start with defining what a social story is. Social stories are effective teaching tools for helping children with developmental disabilities navigate the world around them. These mini books can be used to strengthen almost any sort of skill, from putting on socks to riding a subway and everything in between. Social stories can help calm the anxiety many children with special needs feel as they approach high sensory scenarios, such as ballparks, shopping malls, zoos, restaurants, schools, family gatherings, or anything else specific to an individual child or adult. Let's use an example. Let's say little Johnny loves baseball. He has a favorite team. He knows the stats of all the players on the team. He watches every game on TV and has every jersey imaginable. In other words, he lives and breathes baseball. However, little Johnny gets extremely anxious around big crowds and thus really dreads the idea of going to watch his favorite team play live. Let's go through a social story you could make specifically for little Johnny as we discuss the different parts that go into making it a success. Starting with number 1, make the title specific. The title needs to directly state what the social experience is about. In the example of little Johnny, you want to use a title such as going to a baseball game. Why? Because that's the action Johnny gets anxious about. Something to keep in mind, which is point number 2, is that you will want to have a social story for each specific event. In other words, each social story needs to be hyper-focused. Number 3 on our list of tips making a successful social story is to ensure you're using pictures to support the text. Pictures help draw the child's eyes to the story, but they also help with contextual meaning. In the example of Johnny's story, going to the baseball game, you could use real pictures of the stadium. This really sets Johnny up for what's expected while he's there. Number 4 on our list is to keep the format simple. Yes, social stories need to be individualized to truly make a difference, but keep in mind less is better. Also, use simple fonts, use simple colors, use as little text as possible. In other words, limit any distractions that don't have to do with the hyper-focused nature of the story. Number 5 on our list of making an effective social story is the need to break it down to be specific. Even regarding parts of the process you may think are implied, put them in there. Try this example. Say you're working on getting your child to wash their hands independently. You may want to just tell them to put soap on their hands, rub them together, and rinse it off. However, you'd be leaving out a lot of instruction that, while being implied, won't necessarily be known to someone who hasn't mastered this skill. Number 1, turn on the faucet. Now, depending on the type of faucet you have, be specific here. Is it turn the knob or lift the lever? Number 2, put both hands underneath the water. Number 3, get soap. Number 4, rub your hands together. Number 5, put both hands back underneath the water. Number 6, turn the faucet off. Number 7, wipe your hands with a paper towel or hand towel. And number 8, throw the paper towel in the garbage. Now, of course, you don't want to include that if you're using a hand towel. Number 6 on our list of making an effective social story is to describe what your child should say. This is vital for many children who tend to say everything very literally without filters. Sometimes children need to know the rules of what's appropriate and what isn't when responding to people in scenarios or even just being in a social situation. Here's a quick story regarding children who say the darndest things. When my daughter was about 4 years old, my parents took her to a tour at a museum. While standing in line, she noticed someone standing several people in front of her wearing an eye patch. She quickly cranked up her playground voice, the kind that seems to travel for miles, turned to Grandma and said, "Grandma, look, a real-life pirate." I wish I could have seen the look on my mom's face. But this is the type of situation a social story would work great for. Number 7 on our list of making an effective social story is to include feelings and reactions. Letting children know that the feelings and reactions to an event or skill are normal. In the baseball game scenario, you could use language in the social story such as, "It's okay for me to use my outdoor voice when I'm at the baseball stadium." This allows little Johnny to understand that it will be loud at the stadium, but he too can use his outdoor voice. Also, when it comes to emotions, social stories can include ways for children to regulate the emotions they will have in that scenario. When little Johnny is at the stadium, chances are he will feel anxious. Include sentences anticipating this with what to do when it happens. Such as, if I start to feel worried about going through the stadium gate, I can take a deep breath and think about the fun I will have watching my favorite team. Also, boost confidence to get through the challenge with a sentence such as, "My parents will be so proud of me for using my strategies and enjoying the baseball game with them." The last item on our list of making an effective social story is using simple and positive language. As mentioned earlier, most children are literal thinkers. Thus, the language used should be both positive and on point. Written in the first person and present tense will help children connect better with the event. An example would be, "Baseball is my favorite sport. Today I'm going to Target Field to watch the Minnesota Twins play baseball with my family. I am so excited." Here's the bottom line. Social stories can help children with countless life obstacles. In other words, if you've tried to get your child to do a certain skill, task, or outing with no luck, even though they are capable of doing that thing, there's a very big possibility that a social story written in the way we described is the missing link of success. We are currently in the process of creating different social stories to help children navigate through some common challenges. Check the description of this video for more information. From all of us at SpecialEdResource.com, thank you for watching this episode of Special Education Decoded. We'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Please take a moment, give us a thumbs up. Your support means the world to us. If there's a specific topic you're interested in, please leave a comment. Until then, enjoy these other videos designed to help parents navigate the crazy world of special education. Thank you.